They let him say...
And they're not unfair people either. They're pretty decent people.
They were chill.
Yeah, they're chill boys.
It's totally different than what Brett has gotten in the past.
Apparently, a lot of atheists out there on YouTube seem to think that that's the way to debate. Have 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 or 10 atheists on one single religious person. Now, again, I didn't remember who they were, but we'll get to that.
Find a new shtick, Brett. Find a new shtick. No one wants to debate about stupid religious shit anymore.
Yeah.
You're beating a dead horse with this shit. I don't know why I'm giving you advice, but you should. even the dumb Trump shit you're doing, that's a better thing than I just want to talk about religion. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's boring. It's been talked about to death. And you label everyone as atheists or believers. We don't talk about atheism here very often. I had to explain this to G-Man the other day, too. G-Man just assumes that I constantly talk about atheism and that I'm just friends with everyone else that's an atheist. Like Matt Dillahunty, me and him are buddies. We go way back.
Well, they're still living from like 10 years ago on YouTube where the debate was.
That or now my memory being served back to me about who they actually were. Someone actually reminded me and showed me some clips, so now I do know. But I want to tell you more about what actually happened. I get in the room. I was told before we even started the show. I sat with them for 20 to 30 minutes before they actually started up the show. I have some of you out there are going to say, Brett, that really happened? Yes, it did. In fact, if you go over to BitChute, you will see that behind the scenes, they didn't know it, but I recorded them. And it was very clear.
Oh, really? No, not you. Not you.
I hope they were in a 2-party consent state or a single-party consent state for that.
I want to, get into a private call with Brett so he's recording me. And I'll confess to the Sharon Tate murders or something like that.
That would be fun, like just getting in with Brett and during the pre-thing, you're just like, yeah, you know, Brett, before we go live, I wanted to tell you that I murdered and ate a dog today. It was a cute dog too, but I was really hungry, and then I ended up throwing half of it away because it just wasn't good. I didn't prepare it right. I'm thinking about going and killing another dog right now.
Brother the Fridge, Drunken Peasants, kills dogs, eats them. By Brett Keane. He always has to put by Brett Keane. It's like a fucking kindergartner that draws a picture on a crayon and puts by Billy on it.
Yeah, I actually did that.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Oh, you do that still?
With crayon, yeah.
So, well, bring some over and I'll hang them up on the fridge.
Oh,
really?
Satanic pupper sacrifice
no shit about me,
and barbecue.
They gave the and represented themselves as knowing me very well later on after the debate, as they called it.
It wasn't a debate. No, they didn't call it a debate either. There was
a conversation.
Yeah.
A conversation.
It's you. How is it even a debate? You ask dumb questions, people answer it, and then you just move on to the next one. Because you don't want to debate. You just want to go ahead and get through having people answer your questions. That's what you want.
I have that all recorded. Every atheist who's ever talked to me and knows me, had they asked the Drunken Peasants or the Amazing Atheist or Paul Zigo, DJ would have been the first to tell them that if you talk to Brett Keane, he does not trust atheists. He will more than likely record any conversation he's ever had with you. And yes, non-sequitur, I recorded every conversation, and I also recorded before it, because I've had atheists pull very nasty bullshit on me in the past, trying to frame me, try to lie about me, try to ruin my reputation on the internet, as though I really give a shit about that in the first place. And it's because of things like...
So what he does is he groups everyone who's an atheist into one group and then creates false events that transpired to bash the entire group as a whole.
It sounds like theism, right? Creating false events.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like that, why it is that I don't trust non-believers. And there's many, many people around the world that don't. In fact, we're going to be doing a live room tonight at 7 p.m.
Okay, so right now he said, there's a lot of people around the world that don't trust atheists. But then he's going to say atheists are the least trusted in America. So
talking about why it is that even to this day, atheists are the least trusted in America.
I thought it was around the world.
Maybe it has
is it America or around the world?
Maybe it has to be with the fact that religious people are indoctrinized to believe that anybody who doesn't believe in God is fucking
There was a poll.
A liar.
There was a poll like 10 years ago that said atheists were like the least trusted people in America. And that's what he's talking about.
Find out if it's because of religion, that religion has this effect on the reputation of atheists, or is it because of historical crimes against humanity that atheists have done? And I welcome non-believers from all over to come in and discuss.
Like Zao Dadong?
So, as many of you know, I went in the room, I was considerate, I was respectful, I tried my best not to interrupt anybody.
Right. You do this all the time. You play the good guy, and then later on, you stab them in the back. That's what you do.
Sat back and listened to Godless Engineer. The impression I got as the video continued, the podcast, was that Godless Engineer appeared to be getting really, really aggressive with me. He seemed to get infuriated over the questions about pregnancy. Kyle and Steve act like they were surprised by my
he's calling Kyle.
question. Now, I don't have a problem with explaining to people why it is I'm inspired to ask some of the questions that I do. They didn't really ask, why did you come up with a necrophiliac question, but I'm willing to help them.
What is the necrophiliac question?
I don't know. It's I think it's like, I don't know.
Question to me
is necrophilia rape? I think might have been the question. I don't know.
Basically, do you think that having sex with the dead is a morally good thing to do or right thing to do?
No.
Is a morally good thing to do?
No.
Who the fuck would think that?
No. It's not a morally good thing to do. It's dead. You don't want to fuck dead things.
Do you hold the dead sacred? There was an atheist serial killer by the name of Jeffrey Dahmer a while back. There's been quite a few serial killers.
Oh, wow,
there was an atheist? Was I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer was an atheist. I don't think that's ever been confirmed.
I have no idea.
I'm glad no theists have ever committed crimes.
It's funny
before.
because he did a video about Milo Yiannopoulos and said he was an atheist too.
Yeah, that's it. Not.
So yeah, he just does this. Anyone he doesn't like that thinks is a bad person, he calls them an atheist.
Out there that were atheists who participated in fucking the dead as well as eating human flesh. Eating people, eating.
Yeah, but at least we didn't make a fucking religion out of it.
Reasons why I got inspired to ask such a question like this, because I understand that religious people treat funerals as well as burials and rituals of the dead much different than that of a non-believer who sees a dead body no more than that of a shell or a husk. It's a simple moral question, and I don't think it's even hardly as controversial as some of the questions that atheists try to ask religious people on a daily basis. So, what ends up happening? I continue on asking my questions, and I also answer their own questions back. At the end of the video, they call me names, and then they kick me out of the room without allowing me to defend myself or retort to their accusations. Whenever I get on the outside of the room, they also made sure that I could not comment in their text message alongside the podcast.
You do that shit too. And it's your channel and your hangouts and shit, so you can do whatever you want, but don't complain about other people doing it when you do it too. You ban people you don't like all the time.
Therefore, I could not defend myself there either. That is the reason why I'm making a video right now discussing this. Now, the person that was called Kyle that was in the room in the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's the person you've been calling non-sequitur show for the last 5 minutes.
He said that he knew me well as Steve. They said that they debated me a long time ago, and I said something mean about homosexuals, which is untrue.
Huh.
A friend of mine reminded me...
Here comes the spin. I didn't remember it, but my friend reminded me.
Of how I had interacted with them a long time ago, and apparently they were so irrelevant and so insignificant on YouTube, I just simply could not keep them in my memory capacity. I have dealt with so many atheists and religious people out in public as well as online and in debates and discussions, I cannot recall every little small moment I had with some third wheel in history.
That's because you do this shit so much. You do it way too much. When you get to the point where you can't remember and keep it straight, like who you've talked to before and who you've fucking attacked and shit, then it's time to hang it up, Brett.
It's just the way it is. Nobody can. You try doing the internet for 10 years and remembering every single interaction that you've ever had. So it is what it is. But my friend told me that they apparently were new and they began participating in something that me and Nadia had started. It was a friend of mine who was a homosexual a while back that hosted. Nadia
is transgender.
Yeah.
She's a homosexual.
For
live
mine.
hangouts. And we called the thing the Great Debate. And what people would do is they would come in, atheists and religious people, and they'd talk about things. Unfortunately, Nadia's health began to deteriorate, and she started allowing more and more atheists to moderate the room. And these moderators ended up allowing a lot of mean, cruel-ass people in who were just there to troll. And irritate
Okay.
and call
See, this is him creating a narrative.
religious people names and all this. So the room went from the great debate to the great damn troll room where people just cussed and yelled at each other all day. When I realized within weeks, perhaps even a month, that the room wasn't no good anymore, I ended up going away.
You know, your video looks ridiculous. There's fucking, like, I can see your feet in the background every now and then. They rise up above your shoulders.
Those aren't feet, Ben.
Sit in a fucking chair.
It's a tail.
You don't even have to stand. Sit in a chair.
I do recall that there were many, many people in that great debate thing that I had defeated in arguments and debates. It's one of the reasons why I'm one of the most popular.
Dude, this is fucking hilarious what he says here in a second.
Figured
But
all these.
it's funny because Brett goes back and like deletes his whole channel and shit, or it gets, removed by YouTube, and then he just denies shit that used to be on video that thousands of people have seen.
I'm like the Roman Reigns of destroying atheists.
Debate thing that I
Listen to what he says here. It's fucking
had
hilarious.
defeated in arguments and debates. It's one of the reasons why I'm one of the most popular, well-known people on the internet because of my
True.
reputation for destroying so many of these clowns. In
Fact. He's a
What?
he's a head buster.